If you want the enemy to see you as human, you have to see them as human.
I'm not sure Berters will ever do that.
I'm not sure I'm talking about them.
The Expanse is one of the best sci-fi fantasy shows of all time, and in order for it to remain that way, in the eyes of some, it has to nail the landing. This was the third to last episode, and it was great. They not only advanced every subplot, but they snuck key themes into many of the scenes. So let's do this, starting with the strange dogs.
Odds. Based on your numbers, 1 billion to 1.
Down on Laconia, Kara mourned the loss of her brother, and Duarte tried to comfort her by comparing the loss of the Dream of Mars with the loss of her brother. What a gentleman. But jokes aside, the loss of the Dream of Mars is something that many people are dealing with. One example is Bobby. Duarte said that he couldn't just let the Dream of Mars go. He has to now think of it as a sacrifice, meaning that he gave it up, but he made it sacred. So the Dream of Mars still matters, which is why he is doing what he is doing now. And for better and worse, Cortazar told Duarte that he thinks he can turn it on. Presumably, Cortazar is referring to the ring builder technology of Laconia. However, Duarte didn't realize this, but he actually incentivized Kara to try to get the strange dogs to fix her brother.
I don't want to give him up.
We also learned the way in which Kara's brother died. Apparently, a cart had gone around a turn too fast and flipped over onto him. As the camera scrolled around, you could overhear people chatting about what was going to happen to the driver. Word around town is that he will be killed, possibly by a firing squad, which implies that Duarte rules with an iron fist in an attempt to maintain control. Marco Honoris is similar. In the prior episode, Marco attacked the Rocinante with his 3 wolves, the Pella, the Lauber, and the Granicus. The Rocinante shot the Lauber, removing it from the fight, so Marco told the captain of the Granicus to space the Lauber's 2 senior-most officers. Marco then told Rosenfeld to space the captain of the Granicus if he called her to try to get her to change Marco's mind. So just like Duarte, Marco is attempting to maintain control with an iron fist. No mistakes and no mercy. But it's more than just that. It's also about how Marco refuses to accept blame. He always places his mistakes on others. He did this with his son, and now Filip is doing the same thing to others. Filip made a mistake patching the hull, and he blamed his mistake on Taddeo playing the news. But Taddeo explained that he was listening to the news since his brother is a dock worker on Ceres, and he hasn't heard from his brother since the explosions, and he just hopes that his brother is okay. That may have reminded Filip of his mother Naomi. Later, Taddeo and Filip bonded, cleaning up the debris, and Filip learned that someone deactivated the warhead. So Filip is very conflicted right now. Part of him loves and admires his father, and Rosenfeld told him to reconcile with Marco so that Marco isn't distracted during war, which is effectively what Filip did with his speech at the end of the episode. But on the flip side, Filip countered Rosenfeld by asking her what she thought Marco would do to him if he shot her in the face, and she indirectly reminded Filip about his own guilt about killing his own friend. So part of Filip doesn't want to be like or admire his father. Part of him wants to get to know or inspires to be more like his mother Naomi, and maybe even Holden. Ultimately, Rosenfeld chose to not space the captain of the Granicus because if they had spaced him, it may have made Marco look weak by highlighting that he was insecure about his failed 3-on-1 attack against Holden. Rosenfeld's reasoning was logical, but it was also merciful. That was a nod back to Holden in the prior episode, how he chose to disarm the warhead so as to not kill Naomi's son. Speaking of Holden, on their way to Ceres, Clarissa found out that Holden deactivated the warhead, so she told Amos. Amos then confronted Holden outside, and Holden admitted it, but Holden's response to Amos was pretty defensive. That was weak. Later, Holden walked in on Naomi continuing to inspect the missing Ringgate ship data, and he admitted to Naomi that he had deactivated the warhead. Naomi was very upset, because they could have taken out Marco, but now he still lives. So Naomi fears that she will feel responsible for every person that he kills going forward. And she has a point. But she's also missing a point. If Marco kills someone, the guilt lies with him and him alone. Not with Holden, and certainly not with her. Later, Holden found out from Clarissa that it was she who had told Amos about the warhead. So first off, that was pretty cool. Amos hadn't outed Clarissa, which goes to show how much he cares about her. Another sign that over time things change, sometimes for the better. And Clarissa said something very important. Based on her own guilt, she told Holden that killing someone is a terrible thing, and you can never take it back. Clarissa told Holden to never feel bad about not killing someone.
It's good advice. Thank you.
Let's step into Holden's shoes for a minute. Holden told Naomi how he sees how much it hurts her every time they kill another Belter ship. And Holden told Naomi to stop pretending like what she's feeling doesn't matter. On top of that, Holden told her that he can't be the one who kills her son, because every time she wakes up, she'd be lying next to the reason why her boy is dead. This conversation touches on a major theme underlying the war. If you destroy everything along the way, as Marco and Naros is doing, then what is the point of winning the war? But Amos also made a great point. If they aren't trying to win the fight, then what are they doing out there? And going back to Naomi, she told Holden that she tried to save Filip and she failed. So basically, Filip's future is on him now. This is a conversation that they should have had before the fight, but people are human and sometimes people put stuff off longer than they should. Now, the conversation has been had, so Holden better figure out what he will do if he ever runs into Marco again.
Behind a cloud, hide his face and cry.
Meanwhile, Sanjurani rallied the people of Ceres and reminded them that the Inners are not their friends, and many cheered her on. Some even broadcasted it. So the Joint Fleet overheard her say that, and it sparked a divide. The Joint Fleet is currently expending resources to help Ceres, and some of them don't even want the help. Bavasarala reminded everyone that what they are doing is important, because the Joint Fleet needs allies in the Bell. But Admiral Carino of Mars proposed a different strategy. Carino wants to cripple Medina and reassert control of the ring. However, Avasarala said that she would not commit her forces to that plan. So Admiral Carino passed on that information, and Admiral Preston texted her back that the MCRN FC is prepared to go alone. In the last episode, we learned that Marco got word about a special project at the ring, and now Mars is headed to the ring. So Mars is looking for a fight, and Mars is not the only one. Camina Drummer is a rock star. Drummer and her crew found supply depots that Marco had been hiding. The fact that Marco was hiding supplies from his own people made her furious. Marco's guards then attacked them and killed one of her men, and Joseph was pinned under a container, so Michio had to step up and amputate his arm like a badass. Let's hope that he can grow another one, but long story short, Drummer had had enough with Marco.
Comms, open a channel, wideband.
Wideband.
Do not make me repeat myself.
This is Camina Drummer, and this message is for the traitor, the coward, Marco Inaros.
That is the same thing that some of the people on Ceres have been saying via graffiti. As we mentioned earlier, Sanjurani rallied the people of Ceres and reminded them that the Inners are not their friends, and many cheered her on. But not everyone feels that way. Monica spoke to a man that is tired of it all. He told her that it's not the Inners and the Bell, it's the people who want more hate and the ones who just want to live. So some of the people of Ceres are open to change, and Drummer may be the perfect person to lead them now that she has openly called out Marco, telling him that he is a traitor and a coward, that he hunted her and hers, but they are still there, unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
That's House Martell.
Righteous in wrath.
Drummer said that Marco stole from his own, and she said,
And you are nothing.
Drummer said that Marco called himself a champion, and then he ran, so he can go and raise his bounties on her. He can track her down and kill her, if he can. But it doesn't matter anymore, because she will always be the one who took back what he stole.
Camina Drummer did this to you. Live shamed.